Cathy Madeo with Honor Yoga, going to go over how to do L pose today. You just need a wall and something to mark your distance away from the wall. Let's get started. Before we even go up into our L pose, I want to talk about two really important things with the alignment of your body and the upper body. So when we raise our arms over our head, the tendency is for the rib cage to flare up. And you want the opposite action in your most of your inversions, especially handstand and L pose. So you want to actually shorten the distance between the rib cage and the pubic bone. It's as though your whole rib cage, when you lift the arms up, lifts slightly up towards the ceiling, and then the front ribs, we say nip down. So that's what that action is. So you're resisting the urge to kind of open up the chest as you raise your arms. The second important note that I want to give you is with these poses, it's kind of the opposite action in the shoulders as in downward facing dog. So in downward facing dog, you may hear your instructor a lot cue, wrap the shoulders back and around, which they're really saying externally rotate the shoulders. Now in a L pose or a handstand, the bicep does roll out and the tricep does hug in. But at the same time, you actually want to shrug the shoulders up to the ears. And with the rib cage and that alignment in the shoulders, you'll find a vertical line. So if you notice, if I just kind of raise my arms up and I lift my chest up, my ribs are flaring up and my arm and my shoulders are rolling back, and I don't have like a straight vertical line. But if I do those 2 points that I just mentioned, I take the front ribs down, the arms is externally rotating, but I'm shrugging the shoulders up to the ears, you'll start to notice a vertical line from your tricep straight down through the rib cage. And that's that vertical line, that beautiful line everyone's always talking about in inversions. So L pose is a great place to start working that. L pose is really hard. I'm going to tell you, I think it's harder to hold than handstand. So if you haven't done handstand yet and you do L pose and you're like, I'm never going to be able to do handstand, just let that thought go away from you. This is a very challenging pose, but that's why we need it, because it's going to give us all the tools to build all the right strength for our inversions. So here we go. First thing you want to do is measure your body up. Take anything, it doesn't have to be a block if you're at home, a shirt or what have you, and you're basically measuring when you sit in a pike position with your hip against the wall where your heel is. And this is really important. This is like the most important thing for this pose is measuring out, because if you don't measure out right, you won't be in an L shape. Once you find that measurement, flip to hands and knees. The heel of the hand will be where the heel of the foot is. And my feet are against the wall. Hands are shoulders distance apart, so outer shoulder lines up to the center wrist. And arms have to be really straight and strong. So there's that action of the bicep rolling out, tricep hugging in. But again, when we lift back and up, we're going to shrug our shoulders up to our ears. The second most important thing comes next. So next, you're going to straighten your legs as though you're doing downward facing dog on the wall. So the heels will be on the wall. And you'll notice if I haven't pressed my chest back and I'm kind of looking forward, and what's happening is my whole body is going forward. So that's my next tip. If you look forward, you will come forward and fall out of the pose. So really important, you want to shift the gaze back towards the wall the whole time. I've taught this pose to so many people, and generally the reason why they fall out is because they go like this, and at some point they look forward. So your major tip now is to always look back at the wall. So downward facing dog, press the chest back, gaze back towards the wall. The next tip has to do with where you step your feet up. So your feet should be at hips distance. This is a great pose to do with a friend because they can help you measure, or you could videotape yourself. Because it's kind of hard to see where you put your foot at the wall. But off we go, we're going to give it a shot. So look back at the wall, step one foot, and you're trying to get that heel where you think you'll line up to your hips. And once you step the other foot, you have to press the foot into the wall and pump your hips to stack over the shoulders. So I want to point out, if I looked forward, I would fall, right? And if I don't get my heels in alignment with my hips, if they're lower, I'm going to slip down the wall. And if I get my feet higher, a lot of people step high, you're just never going to get that L shape. It's going to feel really odd and you're not working towards that L shape. To review, you're measuring out in a pike position, heels against the length of your heels away from the wall. Tabletop position, heel of the hand where the heel of the foot is. Look back at the wall, lift the hips up, press the chest back. Here's where you can begin to shrug the shoulders up to the ears. Step 1 foot, look at your own heel, make sure it's lining up as close as you can see to your hips. And little secret here, you have to press the feet into the wall and move those hips so that they stack over the shoulders. And you're looking for an L shape, and maybe you can see it in my body, and if it's not perfectly aligned, that's great to note too. Maybe my heels need to be down farther, or my hips need to be lifted farther. So keep squeezing and pressing the chest back, and see if you can hold here for several breaths. So we'll try 3. Keep pressing the chest back, shrugging the shoulders up to the ears. 2, 1. Come down nice and slowly. Take a child's pose when you come out of an inversion. Let the blood and everything kind of resettle. And come on up. I hope that those tips were helpful. Namaste.